Hello and welcome to another Auto Spec Bits video. In this video we are going to talk about Tesla's plummeting sales in Europe and not that satisfactory sales numbers worldwide as well. So tune in for this interesting video where I'm going to talk about the European sales numbers, the worldwide sales numbers, and why Tesla still does it amazingly well in a country like Norway where we are now. Okay, let's take a look at the actual sales numbers for Tesla, because they are not very good in Europe anymore. Of course, Tesla has been a bestseller in Europe for quite a while, especially in the EV space in countries like Norway and Sweden and Denmark. It's more like overall sales. It has been absolutely amazing. But in May, the European car sales went up 2%, which means people bought 2% more cars. Tesla's new car sales in Europe fell 28% compared to May last year. So that's an absolutely insane decrease in sales in Europe for Tesla. So EV sales in Europe are also significantly up in 2025 overall when you compare all countries. Of course, some countries are down, some countries are up, but overall there are sold more EVs in 2025 as well. So it's not like people just dismiss EVs and go back to their diesel cars or petrol cars. It's an actual increase in EV sales and a decrease in Tesla's sales, which means that Tesla is losing market share. And this has been happening for 5 months now. And when something is happening for like half a year, it's actually indicative of something that's, a problem for Tesla, for sure. It's no longer just a change of production lines. It might be something political. It might be due to the price of the cars. Teslas are quite expensive cars, especially in markets where people are more used to buying cheaper cars in southern Europe. And there are many things that can play into this, and we are going to talk about it in this video. But first we have to mention Norway, because Norway is quite different from all the other countries in Europe when it comes to Tesla's sales. First thing I want to mention is that Norway is not a part of the European Union. So Norway is outside the Union. Regardless, Tesla Model Y, the new Tesla Model Y Juniper, is the most sold car in June in Norway. And it's not just the most sold EV, it's the most sold car in June. And the earlier months as well, it has done incredibly well, all since the launch in March. Of course, it had a dip down in February, because it was a new car, they had limited deliveries, and nobody wanted to buy the old one, of course. But it is set to get close to its all-time record for deliveries. The all-time record for deliveries of Teslas in Norway was March 2023. March 2023 had almost 8,000 cars delivered. Doesn't sound that much. Norway is a small country, so it's actually an insane amount with 8,000 cars. They have delivered, mostly Model Ys, 5,035 in June so far. We are not even done with the month as of filming this video. It's June 28th. So an absolutely insane amount. We are 3,000 under the all-time record in a market like this. So quite interesting. So for 2025 overall we have sold 10,448 Model Ys in Norway. And that might not sound like much, but you have to put it into perspective. We are almost 6 million people in this country. So on second place, we have the infamous BC4X. I want to make another completely different video on why the BC4X sells amazingly well in Norway, but it's at 4,400 so far in 2025. This means that the Model Y is selling more than double the second place on the cars list, or the EV list. It's the same in Norway. Top 10 cars is the same as the top 10 EVs. Kind of insane. And after that we have a bunch of Volkswagen EVs that also sell pretty okay. But the Model Y is selling incredibly well in Norway. It has never sold as good as now, almost. It's getting close to the March 2023 numbers. So why is Norway so different than the rest of Europe? Why is Tesla doing it incredibly well? It's crushing its competition. It's selling more than double the second place of cars delivered in 2025 today. And it's doing better and better as the year moves on. So what's actually going on? Well, to be honest, I don't really know. Of course, I like Teslas. This is a Tesla. This one was bought in March, so I'm part of the statistic in that sense. It was affordable. I'm going to talk about prices. I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of Tesla in Europe. But I think Teslas are great, amazing products because they have stuff I care for, like dog mode, and it's easy to charge, and there are incentives like free supercharging that are put on the cars. But I don't think that's really able to play such a big role in the market that we see this huge shift that we see in, for example, France, with 80% plummeting of Tesla sales. So let's talk a little bit about Tesla in Norway. Tesla is a popular brand in Norway. It has been the best-selling cars for years, and not the best-selling EVs, just the best-selling cars for years. Tesla was one of the first countries in Europe to get the deliveries of Teslas. Of course, people imported the Roadster to Norway when it was made available, but Tesla officially imported the Model S in 2013. I think the first deliveries in Europe was Norway. The first superchargers in Europe was Norway. It is an important staple market for Tesla. And I think it's why they do this aggressive pricing, because pricing of Teslas are lower in Norway than the rest of Europe. It was more insane earlier. Last year it was a huge difference. Now I'm looking at the pricing numbers and we see that the base Model Y is 46,000 euros in Germany, including all fees and VAT. In France, it's 45k euros, including all fees and VAT. These two countries have incentives as well. I don't know how these incentives work, so take that with a grain of salt. But of course, there are incentives in these countries to actually buy these Teslas. Spain, about 45k euros, including all fees and VAT. And the interest rates are a little bit different, and there are different rules for the different countries. It's difficult to compare, but the interest rate seems higher than Norway, because the interest rate for a Tesla Model Y in Norway right now is 0%. Insane. So Norway, the base Model Y starts at 40k euros, and that's a significant price decrease, but not insane. It's not an insane price decrease, but the base Model Y starts at 40k euros. And the reason is that we don't have VAT, value added tax, or similar to sales tax in the US, on EVs. There are no incentives in Norway in that sense, like cash incentives. When you buy the car, you get 3,000 euros off or 5,000 euros off. That's the case in Germany, I think, and France. But the VAT is deleted, so that's an incentive and a subsidy in itself that the state pays for. So in Norway right now we have a 0% interest on the Model Y, and sales was actually pretty good before they actually announced a 0% interest on the long-range Model Y, which is the one people buy in Norway, to be honest, not the base one. And the policy rate in Norway right now is 4.5% from the large Norwegian bank, and when you have an interest rate on a car that's so significantly lower than the policy rate, like the mortgage on your house, everything is set to follow this policy rate, the cars are pretty cheap. So this is definitely an incentive to buy a Tesla Model Y. In Norway is the interest rate, but to be honest, I don't think this one is able to make up the huge difference that we have around in Europe. Teslas has always been cheap in Norway, and they have been even cheaper than they are today compared to other European countries. The sales numbers of Tesla has been much better earlier, so I don't think this is the sole driver, but it helps. Cheap cars helps people buy the cars, of course, and that's yeah, a thing Tesla does in Norway is aggressive pricing. They have done some for years. Teslas have been insanely cheap in Norway. It's difficult for the Germans like BMW and Volkswagen to keep up with Tesla. It's easier in other countries where Tesla doesn't do this aggressive pricing. And I have actually thought about this aggressive pricing many times, because why do they do this insane aggressive pricing in Norway? It always, I don't know. I think I bought my rear-wheel drive Tesla Model 3 for 32k euros, something like that. Teslas are cheaper in Norway than in China, where they are produced. Absolutely insane. Now things are leveling out a little bit more, but we still see sales numbers plummet in Europe. So it's quite interesting to see that, I don't know, that it might not necessarily be the price difference that actually causes this. But yeah, I want to admit that the 0% interest rate, when people, if you need to take a car loan, that's just something that you should take. You should take it even if you don't need a car loan, because of the policy rate in Norway being 4.5%, I think, right now. It changed recently, I think. I can't remember, but the policy rate is 4.5%, meaning that all mortgages, all the loans that people have in Norway are at least 4.5% or higher. So when you have a 0% interest rate on a car, you should take the full loan. So what other things can be the cause? Well, Teslas are a great product, so they are selling well in Norway, and they are selling well due to the charging convenience. But yeah, I don't know. That can't be the cause, because it's plummeting in Europe. So I think politics and worldviews, of course, I won't get deep into that. I think people should be able to choose the car they want to buy, regardless of their yeah, well, they can use the reason they want, like, oh, I don't want a Tesla because they charge badly, which is kind of true for Tesla. I don't want a Tesla because of politics, because of the CEO, because of my worldviews. That's completely fine if people want to choose that. That might be something that might influence the sales in Europe. So, for example, in France, people are fairly political, and that might be a reason for the sales plummeting. And of course, the price of Teslas compared to other cars now. We have many cheaper EVs. We have Chinese EVs. We have EVs that are made in Europe that are cheap, like the Renault 5 undercuts the Tesla. Of course, it doesn't have the specs and the range, and it's a completely different product than the Tesla, but it doesn't really matter. Many people want the cheapest one. They don't want to pay up like 1,000 euros, 2,000 euros, 5,000 euros more to get a significantly better car. They just want the cheapest one available. That's what they have. They don't want to take a car loan. They want to buy a new car cash today. So that might also influence the European sales. Let's conclude this video. So Tesla's sales are plummeting in Europe. They are doing really, really bad in Europe. They are doing not as great in China anymore, and not as great in the USA anymore, but not plummeting like Europe just yet. We don't know what the future holds. In Norway, sales numbers are amazing. It's almost doing its record number of deliveries. People are buying Model Ys like crazy in Norway, not Model 3s. It's mainly driven by the Model Y. The new Model Y and of course good deals on the old Model Y, but mainly the new Model Y now, because we are out of the old Model Ys. This is an old Model Y that we bought in February, and just to talk about why I personally bought this car, just to mention it, because yeah, well, I'm part of the statistic that I'm talking about, so maybe that's an interesting thing. I bought this car because it has dog mode. We have a dog and I need dog mode in the car. Absolutely insane to me that not all cars have dog mode. I think that cars that don't have dog mode should be sent back to the assembly line for actually adding dog mode somehow. That's my opinion, of course. It came with 2 years of free supercharging. That's incentives that other automakers are having difficulty doing because they don't own the charging network. And it had an insane deal. It was cheap. It was cheaper than other EVs in Norway, which I all said that is a good driver of sales in Norway. It is just an insane deal. And of course I had some Tesla referral points, so that's part of like Tesla's marketing thing is the referral program, so that's an important driver. And yeah, for my fiance, this is a car that's insanely easy to use, easy to charge, just plug in. It has plug and charge, Tesla's implementation, which is not plug and charge, but it has plug in charge on the largest DC fast charging network in Norway, which I think is an important driver, at least for me, when putting someone else in this car. That's why my mom bought a Model Y as well, and many others also. It's the ease of use. It has an amazing sound system. Don't need to pay up thousands for Harman Kardon or Bang & Olufsen. It's just an amazing sound system. And yeah, it's fast, it's fun. Not the best comfort in the world, not the best car in the world. Not the best charging car at all, but doesn't really matter for Norway because of the low speeds, because of the curvy, insane mountain roads. We can go very far. I have driven 10 hours in this car with 30 minutes of a DC fast charging where I didn't start at 100%, so it works for my use case, of course. So that was a little bit insight on why we bought it. I have talked about the statistics. What do you think is the reason for the big difference between Norway and Europe when it comes to Tesla's sales this year so far? And I can't predict the future. What do you think will happen in the future with Teslas? Do you think they need to change their strategy for Europe? Anyways, leave a comment down below, and thank you for watching another Auto Spec Bits video.